I've just picked up, literally, this £40, well it's actually $34.99, mini countertop oven from Lidl, and today we're gonna see if it's worth having it in your kitchen or, well, not. I just wanna say though, it is extremely lightweight. You could do a workout with this if you haven't got any dumbbells. You look a little bit weird at the gym, but how did we get here? That's a very deep question.
So I've just had a message on my Discord that Lidl have got some absolute bargain oven, and I'm gonna see if I can find one. There it is. This is it. Yeah, he just picked up a pizza at one point, but I did buy some mini eggs, but hey ho.
Yep, so that's how I ended up with it. In fact, Morpheus actually said, didn't Barry have a more expensive one a few years ago? I did, and we're gonna be comparing it. I tell you, it is so light. Oh, it feels like a toy one. We've got ourselves a rack. Instructions actually got a QR code for a manual, and quite a nice dainty baking tray, very lightweight. I don't even know that's oven safe, to be honest. Oh, what's this? Oh. Oh, wow. That's a removable crumb tray. That is so lightweight, oh my word. Gosh, what? Okay, that does hold that, but look. So it's got a 3-year warranty, 1300 watts, 14 litre capacity. How do they even test that? They just fill it up with water. Don't do that. 70 to 230 C temperature range, 60-minute timer. So you can either do a grill, like a broiler, lower heat, so upper heat, lower heat, or both together to effectively create an oven. So this is not a convection fan oven, it's just purely heat. A little bit like the Ninja Toaster the other day. Except I don't know if the build quality is quite the same. Is this gonna give us like one of those ticky timers? Yes, it is. Hopefully you can hear that. I love the old school like green and red lights on it. And then this is just literally your temperature gauge. That is basically it. So I'm gonna take all the removable bits out, wash it in some soapy water. We'll probably get it warming to get rid of that natural factory scent as usual. Oh, jeez. Oh, look. It says about a factory scent. Look at that. It was making some crazy noise just then. I've got really low hopes for this already. One thing I do like though, it is working with the door open, so like it doesn't need to be shut for the functionality to like get going. So for the grilling, that's gonna really give us an opportunity to see what's going on and take it out just when we like. But it's basically functionality is for baking, reheating, and grilling. So let's put all of those things through the test, starting with baking. Our first test, can our mini oven cook a mini pizza? We're actually gonna do one store-bought and then we'll probably do one fresh, all being well. So hopefully for either of them, we're looking for like even cooking, a crispy base, particularly on the fresh one, and nice melted cheese. What could go wrong? The only weird thing is from time to time, it keeps making this weird click. I don't know if that's it just cooling down, but it's just making periodically these really weird noises. Maybe I have just bought an amp. I wasn't expecting this video to be so Back to the Future heavy. Oh my gosh, one mini pizza just fits on there like that. Oh mum, you sure know how to rehydrate a pizza. So from frozen, normally 200 C, which we preheated it to for 22 minutes. I don't know if you heard that clicking sound. With it being a smaller area like we found with air fryers, it potentially will cook faster than that. Ugh. Actually, as annoying as that is, I am actually going to put the timer on because it's had 5 minutes and I can't, it's really annoying. There's no light. So you can't see what's going on in there. And periodically it's going on and off like, you know, the red light, green light from like a sandwich toast or something like that. It's just kind of one of those, but just stood up. There's definitely some heat coming from it. This does not bode well for our fresh pizza, but little steps. Right, we're down to 10 minutes, and to help it along, I'm putting the temperature up even higher because it is not looking good. There's definitely heat coming off it. The ironic thing is you can actually microwave those pizzas. They take about 2 minutes. Based on the other tests I wanted to do, I really wanted this to be good. This is not a great start, but we've still got time. The worrying thing is that when I click on the link for this on the Lidl website, it now says, whoops, looks like we've slipped up, like it doesn't exist anymore, it's not available. I mean, it's the middle of Lidl, right? You're gonna go in there sometimes and come out with a lawnmower, or perhaps even a mini oven that doesn't cook. And that timer is very, very close now, but I'm literally convinced now that it is basically an upright sandwich toaster with red light, green light. That's literally it. Just stick a glass door on it, no one will know. I'm gonna stop the camera and it's gonna ping, I know it. Oh! Let's get in there. Oh! You can't really see the heat. And actually, these heating elements haven't got like bright red. Oh, I tell you what, The pepperoni looks like it's been sizzling. It's completely stopped. That's why it's mini. It's just like, I'm hot, now I'm cold. It's like Katy Perry. All I'm looking for, oh, browned edges, is this to be cooked through. Ooh. Okay, so look, there you go. The cheese, and you can see the heat coming out of that now. It microwaves in 2 minutes. Or 20 minutes plus in this. Oh, that doesn't feel very cooked through. But the crust feels good. The cheese looks good. Oh my word, that's actually worked, and it's very, very hot. Okay, it's not actually gone very crispy, but this bit here, I was thinking, oh, there's gonna be like a little frozen carpet or something of cheese. Okay, so we're back in the game. All right, so I've got some pizza dough here, and I'm just gonna try and make a little bit of a crust to compete with our frozen rival. This is gonna be the real test for what happens with that base, so I'm hoping we can accelerate it by having a nice hot tray. I mean, kind of like what I would do if I was making it in the oven anyway. Oh gosh. It's now doubling up as a little bit of a... Ooh. It turned into a spatula for me then, but that is now in there, and I actually heard a slight sizzle once that dough hit that hot tray, so it can't have been any better. I just like all my other videos when there's a product, if it's sponsored, which it very, very rarely is, I'll let you know. But there's something about cheering for the underdog that I always like to see if we can make it work. So far, even after a minute, that's looking pretty darn good. It has been in there probably longer than I would have liked, actually 10 minutes, which for that heat, you'd expect it to be like proper bubbling and blistering and always possibly burnt. But look, there's some heat coming off that. It's puffed up. Let's see on that board. Just have a little look underneath a minute. Ooh, it has browned. Look at that. Let's make it look a bit more pizza-y. But will we get that crunch? Oh, okay. I'm not sure if that's actually fully cooked through all the way there, which doesn't bode well for another test. The worst pizza I ever had was at a Bristol City football match. Don't know how they managed to do it, but that was raw too, and I'm getting random throwbacks. Hopefully the camera was able to show that a minute ago. There's just a little bit there where it's not completely raw, but still like a little bit gummy, but like with a very, very mild gummy texture. I think every minute more that I could have put that in there, although it incinerated the top. But on the whole, fairly passable. I mean, look at that colour on there. It's like deceptive. It looks like nothing's coming out of it. You know, and it is warm through, and it's definitely doing something to the tops, and it's those that I want to test next. Yes, so this slice of bread, we're gonna try and burn. We are gonna do a burn test. So with the grill, just the heat coming from above, like I wanna see if we can burn this toast, or even to a certain point of it extremely charred. Because from that we can see that it's actually doing the pizza on the top, but I wanna see if there's any sort of like patches, if it actually grills it evenly, if it's a bit biased, does it to one side, and ultimately, yeah, if we can burn toast. Surely we can burn toast. Grill setting, so just the top line. With the door open, we can actually witness what's gonna happen to it. I've put it in the middle of the middle. We've got these heating element bars just down there. But why aren't they going bright red? They're supposed to be hitting those really high temperatures, like, come on. I love how on the sides it's just got, that was hot. It's got the screws just showing. Look, folks, I haven't seen this before, perhaps because like the trim of the door was maybe hiding it. I was actively looking. But look, we have actually got that heating element there. I only want to do one side, and I can see some colour already coming to it. So we might not fully incinerate it, actually. I just want to see if we're getting even heating. And even now, actually, look, it's missing this area here. Yeah, hopefully you see that. I'm trying to get it. It's the toast is lined up perfectly between those two lines. But actually, I might conclude this test here because I've found out something interesting. Look at that colour tone. It's like a gradient. But this end was closest to the back, where obviously with the door open, maybe that cools the temperature, but they were both directly under a heating element. But look at this line here. However, grill test 2, I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy, which is probably my easiest test today, judging by now we know that this does work quite well. I can see those heating elements. This is some smoked cheese, and I'm gonna add on some Worcester sauce. I asked the guy in the supermarket for it because they ran out of it the other day, and I just went down this weird like tongue tangle of going like whoosh shush 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 whoosh shush shush. This is cheeky. But by pushing it more to the back where the heat was stronger, we should get a really good bubbling. All right, folks, please excuse me. I'm just using my other lens to show you what that is looking like. Look at that cheese bubbling away. Really distinct patches, aren't there? Yeah, look, again. Let me just turn this off because that's very dangerous. But look, this is where that was taken out of the grill. So this is still that front side. It is more biased one area. So you are still getting that browning there. And of course, we could just spin it around. Well, that's quite fascinating. Incredible. The crunch from the side that we grilled originally, this is all sort of softened and absorbed into it. So for another test we've got coming up, and of course to help it, the door will be closed, so it might be better. That spread of the heat is going to be absolutely critical, but I think a big part of that was having the door open. Okay, so for this one, these are some oven chips that I baked last night, and they have been left out all evening, and they are absolutely horrendous. And to be fair, I never ever reheat them. We just tend to bake what we need. But it's got a reheat function, or does it? Because I've just checked the instructions, I just quickly had a little look at the full manual and a PDF, there is no reheat function. It is purely using one of these. Grill, bottom or upside down grill, I don't know what to call that. Bottom heat, we'll call it, or oven. So basically, we've got to pick one of the two. Do we do the bottom heat? Because then that's just using that as that sole purpose of like just being a bottom heating element. What other reason would you need that? Or do we go double? I'm gonna have a think about that for about 3 seconds. I think what we'll do is go for the bottom heat, and then if it's rubbish, add the top heat too. So we're actually going to do a test with 2 different ways here. And the more I think about it, God, I hate cold chips. They always taste of like regret, like I shouldn't have had that takeaway. But I'm wanting to see the difference what spray oil might do to it. I'm going to give it 15 minutes, which is a blooming long time. And not only that, I am gonna just grab some more. Because if I was really going to be reheating these, I would just bung them in the microwave. But they could get soggy, that's the thing. Is it worth like 90 seconds in there or over 15 minutes? I don't know. It could really surprise us. I mean, oh my God. It just tastes like chalk. Anything is going to be better than that. Oh, I don't think you can hear the sizzling, but the oil ones on the right have got a slightly better colour on there. I think it's going to be done. So the alternative, microwave. And we should get, yeah, there's a little bit of steam coming out of that as well. Oh my word. Can you see the moisture on that plate? Ooh. Let's stop those for a moment. Oh, look, they've caught. They've actually caught underneath. These ones had no spray oil. We'll put those on the right. All right, just the one, please. Microwave. Oh gosh. Oh, it's all gone like furry. There's no crispness and a slight dampness to it. Oh no, it still tastes stale with no spray oil. A crunch. And the potato, again in the middle, it feels like it's a chip again. It's kind of locked in. But 100% that's worked. So let's try the ones that we did with oil. Now I didn't shake them up when they were cooking. I did mix them around so they got coated all over, but with the side that it's been sat down on, kind of like this, the oil has really worked its way into it. So like one face of it has got an ultimate crunch. So all the rest is kind of like how it was without the oil. I guess that's answered it for me personally, is that if I wanted to reheat them, I'd use my oven. But what I would probably do is a little bit of spray oil and then maybe like halfway through or maybe a couple of times, just keep shaking it up so it evenly cooks around. But that really has. It's revived them. So we're gonna do a slightly more advanced baking test now, and just like how Mike helped do a little bit of a versus then, we're gonna have a friend of mine come back, which actually Morpheus reference that we talked about at the start of this video, I've used, and it actually got us through about 2 months whilst we're having our kitchen built. We've had it quite a while now, and actually 2 of my friends, when they've had renovation works with like no kitchen, have actually borrowed it and absolutely obliterated it. It's called the Sage Smart Oven Pro, 2,400 watts of juicy power. I've roasted an entire chicken in it. I mean, look at the size of the baking tray that comes with it. Well, and the pizza tray as well. Look, I mean, you know, and it's got like a light like this. Grilled toast, crumpet, baked roast, pizza, cookies, reheat. It's got reheat. Look, so it goes all the way up to 230C, but you can see, look here, if I press the fan button, it's actually a convection oven too. So I know how good this is. It's brilliant. Like literally 2 months of our lives were spent using that. I did videos with that thing. It was fantastic. I know it's gonna work as a fan oven, and it wouldn't be fair to our little one if we used the fan. So my electricity bill pending, oven mode on this one. I'm really missing having a light. But one thing I will say, this is actually quite a narrow worktop along here. That does fit on there quite nicely. Whereas this is a slightly bigger beastie machine to help feed a family. I have got some chocolate muffin batter here. We'll go about 2/3 of the way up. Now on a recent video when I used these silicone molds, we found that I don't know about it, I've always had this problem with silicone molds. They don't seem to bake that well. Something about like the heat distribution in them. And that's gonna be, see, I love how those oil marks are permanently etched on there now. An even bigger consideration for like how well the little one's gonna bake. Now, if I ever press start, we are preheating. I just really miss having a light on that other machine as well. But yeah, look, we're on oven mode and you cannot see any of those bars red. It's definitely hot though, because I can hear it sort of like expanding. Oh. In they go. But look, we are baking. We can see that we're baking. And we're baking. We can squint our eye. He's dreaming about cupcakes. 3, 2, 1. Oh my word. They look pretty much identical. I want to let them cool fully, so I'll get rid of Sage and we're going to move on to the final boss. Yes, we are going to try and roast a chicken in that thing. I bought the smallest chicken I could find. It's roughly 1 kilo. I've already prepared it with garlic, herbs and lemons, but let's see if we can cook a chicken in there. We really have got to cook this through. 170 fan or 190C non-fan. Can we squeeze that in there? Oh my, we can. It was touching the upper heating elements. Literally the top of the chicken was on one of those sunbed tubes. A chicken normally, I think it's like 20 minutes per 500 grams plus 20 minutes regardless. So because this is a 1 kilo chicken, the timer doesn't actually go up high enough. With the butter I rubbed on there, if it starts to catch too soon, we will stick foil on there, but hopefully we can defeat the final boss of roasting a chicken in a $34.99 mini Lidl oven. Okay then folks, it's nearly about 15 minutes left and of the hour, but by this stage normally we'd expect to have quite a decent golden colour on it. I start to think about getting my foil ready, but that is not the case. I won't worry about it. But anyhow, this is one of the cupcakes. We'll just take the one that our little oven has done. And this is the one from the Sage, and it feels firmer on the top, which would actually coincide with some of the things and what we're seeing now with the chicken, how that top element isn't quite getting that heat out there. It did in grill mode, but that's the only mode that we've seen where those heating elements, like when they're individual, were like proper red. Ugh. Okay, yeah, fully cooked through that one. And this one does feel higher, but that could have just had slightly more batter in. Again, look, they both did the job really, really well, to be fair. Taste-wise, that's pretty nice. Wow, that's actually slightly more delicate. So maybe there is a very, very slight underbaked element versus the Sage one. And remember, we could have done fan on that. A nice even test. Very, very similar. But if anything, I preferred the cupcakes baked in this than our Sage. Oh, I don't really want to open it, but we passed the hour. I can see actually a slightly more golden brown on the top. So it looks like the sides aren't really getting that nice charring and benefit that a fan oven would give. But I have noticed like a little random patch of fluid just here. I see that. I hope it's not leaking. That's one way of making chicken stock. Look, you've got a golden colour on there. Did you see that coming out then? But there's this moisture around the edge where there doesn't seem to be like any sort of seal to kind of prevent it escaping. Hence why, as the moisture's really built up in there, I've got these puddles of the chicken on the counter here, and that's massive. To be fair, it actually has got a really nice colour. Look at all these juices as well. Like, you know, a little bit of lemon in there as well with the butter and also the natural juices. Oh my gosh. The only thing I would say is that doing beer can chicken in it, the chicken stands vertically for that. That ain't gonna work. I actually don't need a meat thermometer because it's been in there for so long. It's like, I knew it would be cooked through. I mean, look at that. Wow. I'm gonna have a chicken mango sandwich before my live stream. The underside did not cook where it was sat in the tray, so that's one thing to consider. But, oh, the lemon really helps with that. It's moist and tender, not dry at all, absolutely gorgeous. So what I find with these like middle of Lidl things, sometimes they've gone that next step of getting something, say from Temu or Shine. You know, the ultra budget things like we saw with the air fryer Hue. You know, they've kind of gone the next step up, but there's so many things that I wasn't really keen on with this. It's brilliant for certain tasks. I mean, as a grill, the cupcakes, I can't deny they absolutely worked. And most things, I mean, have worked. It just felt a little bit unsafe. You know, I would have liked a light and maybe like an actual digital timer, but I know you've got to go with like the price. I mean, like I say, I think that chicken is generally heavier than this was. But for some people, it would probably get you by. I think for me, if I wanted something for this size, if I lived on my own, kind of like the dream. That's a joke. I'd probably look for something just a step higher. I think I've probably been spoilt with the Sage machine in the past, but like I say, it could get you by and get you going, get you cooking, and yeah, it's quite versatile for 35 quid. Yeah, I think out of everything, my cupcakes are probably the favourite thing that I made in it. I mean, obviously the cheese and toast, oh my gosh, and the pizzas as well, you know. Thanks for watching. Consider being a patron if you wish to see the Barry edit of this video. That's the Patreon Vlog Club. Hopefully that makes more sense. It's much more extended versions of the videos to get some of my real thoughts. Over 400 of those videos exist now. It's like some very interesting moments you can always go back and watch. Cheers so much for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts, what you think of this, or if you've seen something better. Of course, do let me know down below, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Come on. He's literally asleep. I've put chicken right by his nose and he's asleep. Look at him.